good afternoon to you all, and good to see you all. Hopefully we'll get to see each other in person in the not too distant future. We appreciate the opportunity to meet and for the invite from you, Kathy, and Carla, and the work group. And the timing to meet this month is great, given all that is going on that is related to what we want to talk about Internet Essentials and the federal government Emergency Broadband Benefit. And, and Kathy, Carla, and group were good enough to give Lorena Hernandez, my amazing colleague in Comcast, who heads up community impact, are excited to talk about. And so just quickly, Dillon Auyoung, Comcast Director of Government Affairs for San Francisco. To kick things off based on the sequence we're talking, I'd like to introduce Lorena, and she has been the person since the start of Internet Essentials who has been working to make a difference. And she actually helped introduce me to this great program when I started 2.5 years ago. And so if I may, let me turn it over to Lorena to kick things off on Internet Essentials.
Thanks, Dillon, and thanks the entire council for inviting us. And, really, I always say it's the community together, working together, that, we've been able to do what we do, and the efforts that we've put in place over a decade ago. So I know, all of you have been working on this front way before the pandemic. We saw and we knew that there was this, issue that we were facing. And so, like we were saying, Internet Essentials started because of what we saw and the need that we saw. And we recognized that, bridging the digital divide was not just about connectivity. It wasn't just about device. It was also about digital literacy and in community, in language. That was, the trifecta. And we also learned, many years ago too, as we were rolling out Internet Essentials, that the fourth piece of this was really educating folks about the relevancy of having connectivity at home, and having those skill sets, why it was so important. Fast forward, we've made some great strides. And, earlier this year, we announced that we connected 10 million low-income individuals to the internet. We didn't do it alone. We did it collectively, with all our partners, all of you, many others, across the country. Because I've always said it doesn't take one person, and it's not one agency or one department or one sector. It's all of us coming together, making sure that we're supporting our community and those that are in need. And so it was great to celebrate, 10 million connects, and also 10 years. But there's more work to be done. So we did announce that we were making another investment of $1 billion to impact an additional 50 million individuals. And it's looking at this again, holistically, about digital equity. We did learn last year, as we were faced with the shelter in place, not only in California, but across the country, we immediately, responded and really supported our community. And we put in place a 2-month offer, 2 months free. We put in place also what we call our Internet Essentials Partner Program, that is working with, school districts, nonprofits, cities, counties, for them to be able to also sponsor folks and really getting them connected. We increased our speeds. We waived late fees. There's a lot of things that we did to make sure that we were really providing access at home. And, the other thing that we found out with the pandemic was that, not many had the opportunity to have a home and be at home to learn and do distant learning. So we had a lot of, unhoused foster youth, kids of essential workers, their parents were out working, and therefore didn't have anyone at home to help them do distant learning. So we partnered with a lot of cities, third parties, out there to create what we're calling lift zones. And that was to create a safe space where kids could go and learn and do distant learning or other wraparound services. And in California, we were, it's just great to partner with the city of San Francisco and 30 plus partners that were out there doing the community hubs, really bringing, again, creating that safe space to connect our kids and making sure that they have the support to be successful in this new paradigm that we were in. And so, we just cannot thank you all enough for all the work you guys have done. And there are some new things. I think Dillon alluded to it. There's a lot of stuff happening, and I'm sure all of you guys have kept a pulse on it also. But I'll turn it over to Dillon just to talk about the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program and how we're going to be part of that also. And then we can address some of your questions.
Sounds good. Thanks, Lorena. So on the Emergency Broadband Benefit, or EBB, just to level set, as you all probably know, at the end of 2020, Congress established this EBB program, right? And the FCC adopted, in order to implement it. It's designed to help low-income households and households that have really suffered a substantial loss of income to connect to the internet and, struggle to stay connected during the COVID crisis. So at this time, the government allocated one-time funding to the EBB program. There's not a specific time frame that these funds need to be used or guaranteed to last. And so the benefit itself, just to reconfirm, offers qualifying customers up to $50 a month in credits for broadband service and equipment from any participating internet service provider, and that's including Comcast, and up to $75 per month in tribal lands. And this is limited to one monthly internet service credit per eligible household. So this is from the federal program, what they're stating, but I just wanted to, reconfirm that. And so, this can be applied to any tier of Xfinity internet, and that includes Internet Essentials as one of those offerings. And so in summary, the EBB program is this government-sponsored subsidy for internet service, and it's covers leased equipment, can be applied to qualifying customer accounts. I just wanted to say that, Comcast, we just welcome this additional step in getting assistance directly to those in need during this time, like Lorena was saying. Xfinity is participating in the program. Internet Essentials is participating in the program for both new and existing customers who qualify to take advantage of this temporary federal government broadband subsidy. And, we've had a longstanding commitment, like Lorena was outlining, to help people connect and stay connected to the internet. And this new federal program will help further that goal. And, and we at Comcast are in the process of standing up and implementing this EBB program. And, there will be more details on a website that we're put a placeholder on, but let me go ahead and put that into chat. And so it's www.xfinity.com/EBB. And it looks like the federal kickoff, as you probably have heard, is next Wednesday, May 12th. So really great timing on having this meeting to be able to talk about it a week from today when it's supposed to launch. And so just wanted to reiterate, it can be applied to any, this benefit from the federal government can be applied to any of our internet service programs, including Internet Essentials for new and existing customers. I know you all, when we work together, I see Angela, she's at center of my screen. So hey, Angela, working with the Curry Senior Center and other folks, you all have just tremendous work in looking at eligibility and navigating requirements. So I just want to say really quick on eligibility. I wanted to highlight two important points about the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program. As you talk to your clients and folks participating in your good programs, first, customers must apply for the program on their own. So being an existing Comcast customer, whether you're an Xfinity internet customer or an Internet Essentials customer, will not automatically enroll them in the EBB program. So the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, determines who's eligible for the EBB program and the corresponding benefits. So it's not us as the provider, as you probably have surmised. So so customers can learn about the EBB program, or folks in your programs, or as you help folks navigate on their behalf in your programs, looking at eligibility requirements by visiting either the FCC website, which I'll post in chat. You may already have it, but hey, sometimes it's easier to delete than to look up. Households eligible if one member of the household meets, any of the criteria, and that includes, as you know, Medicaid, SNAP, the supplemental security income, federal public housing assistance, veterans and survivors, pension benefit, tribal programs for residents, so and so forth. Also, if someone in the household is receiving benefits under the free and reduced price school lunch program or breakfast program, or folks who are demonstrating a substantial loss of income since February 29, 2020, and the household has a total income in 2020 below $99,000 for single filers and $198,000 for joint filers. So for Internet Essentials customers, and thank you all for your partnership, like Lorena said, on helping to get the word out for Internet Essentials, based on the qualification criteria for the Emergency Broadband Benefit. So all Internet Essentials customers already qualify for the program. However, they do need to enroll in the Emergency Broadband Benefit program, and need to apply for that. And so the subsidy is available to the existing and new internet customers to Comcast who meet the qualification criteria. And so again, it's credit up to $50 and up to $75 for folks on tribal lands. And this goes toward their monthly internet bill for the duration of the EBB program. And I know I've gone on for a bit. Let me stop right there. And, maybe we can open it up. And I know Kathy has, had help, in advance, given us some questions that we're glad to cover as well.
Great. Well, thank you. That's good news. Excellent news. Glad to hear it. I guess I just want to center in a little bit with our population, seniors and people with disabilities. So maybe I'm a little confused, but if they're paying $10.95 a month or $10.99,
$9.95 a month.
Thank you. So how does this help them specifically?
Do they get a zero bill if they apply? Does their bill go to zero?
Yeah. So the EBB amount, depending on what they qualify for, would essentially pay for their entire Internet Essentials bill. Some folks may elect to look at other internet service options through Comcast, depending on their needs, their speeds. Something we've noticed during the pandemic, not only is distance learning one of the major uses of bandwidth on internet, but at home and online gaming has been really big, as well as things you would expect when we were all kind of hunkering down, such as for streaming services. So, Internet Essentials, like Lorena was describing, with all the enhancements also, has had a speed increase, right? Mm-hmm. So up to 50 megs, but also depending on the evolving needs of a household, they could qualify for some of the other options that Comcast is offering. Great.
And then what about the installation fee? That was another question people had. Sometimes people can't afford the $79 installation fee. Does this go towards that at all too?
As you know, programs, like these, as you stand them up, and this is the federal program standing up the EBB program, and then, in concurrence with that, we're standing up, how to work with that program and receive the funds and apply them. So, this is something, that, we're looking at. I think one of the things we have been trying to do, given wanting to be sensitive to, the populations that you all are working with very closely. And given, the decreasing risk, but we also are very watchful, as you all are, on the risk. We'd like to try and help folks, what can we best empower our partners, such as you and the Tech Council and the Access and Learning Workgroup, to help folks be able to self-install. I know Angela and Philip from Curry Senior Center and some other folks have done just great work in either creating their own cheat sheets or their own how-to videos, a number of ways to really walk folks through, their trusted, their trusted clients or clients who trust them. What I've also done is, here, let me put something. I'm also posting in the chat to everyone a self-install Xfinity Internet Voice, which has some videos, because I think there's also some opportunities there we can kind of do based on what you all have helped us with, the trainers, right? How can we work with folks that this population, the good folks who are participating in your programs, who they already trust and know you all, how to potentially walk them through. But of course, by no means putting them on, because, you all have limited bandwidth too. You're doing more, with your existing resources.
And I
agree.
Add, I mean,
Other question?
Oh, sorry, I think Lorena had.
Yeah, I was just gonna add that, like any new program, we're standing this up just kind of like when we did Internet Essentials, when we were rolling that program out. I always say have patience, because sometimes there's things that you learn, and the FCC's learning on how they're rolling out their program, and we're adopting and adjusting our programming also to meet that. So any feedback you have, or questions, or glitches that you run into, feel free to reach out to us. That's how Internet Essentials started out, as just supporting families with kids in school, and it evolved to be all low income. And so, but we did that because of the feedback and the partnership that we had with all of you.
Yes, thank you very much. I mean, it's made a huge difference in so many people that we serve. So we really, and with seniors as well, we've really targeted those folks, and it's been very helpful to a lot of people. The speed, I think, is also extremely helpful. I mean, I don't know where, what the difference is between what you've done now, but I'm assuming now Zoom and basic videos and things like that can be done on Internet Essentials, correct?
Yes, we increased our speed to 55, and so it's more than substantial to support families and seniors. Again, I think it's those are the things that we want. Like this program, we've increased the speed over the course of the 10 years, I think 15 times. So it's making sure as we hear from our community partners and the customers, that we always try to adjust, amend, and and just really enhance the program.
Great.
Kathy, we've got a couple of questions coming in.
Yeah, so I was going to pass it over to you, Carla. Yeah.
All right, we've got it looks like Angela, and then Stefan, and then Bethany. So why don't we take it in that order?
Okay, great. Thank you. I guess my question is, we have a lot of consumers, seniors that are already enrolled in Internet Essentials. So it sounds like our next steps are kind of evaluating the outreach materials and the application process, and then reaching out to our community to make them aware of this benefit, share and help them apply so that they can be eligible for that discount. Is that kind of do I have it right?
Correct.
Okay, got it. That was just my question. And then I think you answered the other one I had. So thank you.
All right, Stefan.
Thanks,
Hi, everybody. So once the EBB program expires, will existing Xfinity users continue receiving the $9.95 rate for bill, or will it go back up to a higher rate?
Yeah, that's a great question, Stephen. Hey, good to see you. I know we've been corresponding by email, so it's good to actually have a moment to be face-to-face virtually. So yeah, and like we've been following, right? We don't know how long the program will last. We really are, along with other advocates, saying that this EBB program is, Emergency Broadband Benefit program is great, but we're looking for predictable, sustainable, because the need is so great. And so it'll revert back to the Internet Essentials amount. And we've been following up. And so the FCC, the federal government, should be notifying before the program starts to taper off, giving us at least 30 days. And what we will be doing is be notifying customers at least 30 days to say, hey, in your enrollment in the EBB program, which provides credits to your bill, that will be tapering off as well at this time. And so heads up on that, what's going on. But yeah, you hit upon a great point that this is really beneficial temporary program. And I know folks at the local, state, and federal level are really, there's a movement to really say, hey, we need something predictable, sustainable, and permanent.
Thank you. So
I think the other thing to a point of clarification, that is if they were an Xfinity Internet Essentials customer, it will come back to that $9.95. If they choose, because the EBB program allows you to potentially choose even another, service, then it will revert back to whatever that service is. So just to be clear that, there's a difference, and we will send notifications to you or to the customer.
All right, we've got Bethany up, and then Sophia, and then Paulo.
Hi, Bethany, Community Living Campaign. I have two questions. First, in a recent EBB webinar, it was mentioned that for the application process, unlike with Internet Essentials, it's not possible to complete the application over the telephone. A participant must complete the application through mail or using a web portal. It was also mentioned that people may be able to complete applications in brick and mortar stores. Do you know if Xfinity stores will be able to do applications with consumers?
Not to my knowledge, but that is a great bring up, Bethany, because as you probably heard too, the federal government in standing this up really was looking at previous Lifeline systems and programs. So, and the launch was delayed. We were thinking it was going to be end of April, and then, beginning of May, and, luckily it'll be next Wednesday. So, let me, Lorena and I can definitely talk about it. I think there are a few things we really want to think out. Social distancing within the Xfinity stores and the capacity to actually have folks do that. But, I'm going to look at Lorena virtually through my camera, because I know there were some really creative things we had looked at before with Internet Essentials, and trying to provide ways for folks to be able to kind of access and sign up as kind of an event, so to speak.
Yeah, and we're just like you, as the FCC is rolling this out, we're also rolling out our program and how, the things that we're going to be able to do. And so we'll send you information about that, and we'll also be posting that information and making it available at xfinity.com/EBB, to let you know what those steps are. And we'll also note some of the questions that we're receiving today to make sure that we're able to, give you the latest and greatest.
Great, thank you. Also, Community Living Campaign, we do sponsored service. How is this going to be affected, or could it be possible to utilize the EBB with sponsored service?
Yeah, great question. And shout out to CLC and Marie. You all have been great partners, and thanks for being a sponsored service partner. So, the way the program is set up, we wish there was a seamless way to take the federal government benefit and just have it merge right into, because you all did some good work with Lorena and other folks to just get that set up on behalf of your the people you serve. However, the EBB program is kind of siloed in how it's set up. So people would need to opt out of the sponsored service program, right? Once they verify that they qualify for the EBB program, which they would because they're in your sponsored service program, and then sign up for the EBB benefit, and then sign up for Internet Essentials individually. So yeah, I'm sorry I don't have a more elegant solution or answer. As you can tell, everyone is trying to stand up systems, but that's something that we continue to bring up, like how can we already have this great infrastructure in place. We did all the work together. You did the sponsored service agreement. You have all these folks, like why can't we? But yeah, that's the answer we're getting so far, but great question.
I understand, thank you.
All right, Paulo.
Hi, everyone. Paulo Salta from Department of Disability and Aging Services. Hi, Dillon, Lorena. Thanks for coming and presenting Comcast's efforts on EBB. My first question is kind of the opt-in option for folks that are already in the Internet Essentials program. Of course, we're trying to make this process as seamless as possible and removing any pain points. So can you kind of go into further specifics if you have them? Is it just a simple phone call to Comcast saying I'm already in the Internet Essentials program, can I opt into EBB? So just general thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, good to see you, Paulo. We've been corresponding by email as well, so it's good to have some FaceTime. So yeah, what we're asking folks to do, if they're already Internet Essentials customers, is to go to the website, which is the xfinity.com/EBB, to be able to be walked through the process to switch over. And so, an example would be, you want to be able to you already have the eligibility. So then you're just going to be signing up for internet services with your EBB information to make sure that you get your bill credit. So there, on that website, xfinity.com/EBB, there is a way to enter all that information so that it connects up so that when, the monthly bill does show under the credit section, that benefit that's up to $50 per month from the federal government, or up to $75 per month for folks, on tribal lands to be applied toward that bill. And if you go to xfinity.com/EBB right now, you'll notice there's a little bit of a, hey, thanks for checking it out, coming soon, because we are waiting for the FCC to finalize their website and everything that they're doing to make sure that we're completely in sync with them. But yeah, great question. And thanks for what you've been doing with the community, Paula.
Great. I do have one more, if that's okay, Carla.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I attended the presentation by I'm forgetting who it is, but the presentation to community providers helping with the rollout of the EBB. And they also talked about how some internet service providers will be creating their own website for verification, eligibility, and enrollment. Is that what this xfinity.com/EBB is going to be? It's Xfinity's own website and verifying someone's eligibility on the EBB program? Or will we need to have folks go through the official, I'm forgetting the full FCC website to get verified and then go to Xfinity? So just kind of walking us through that.
Great question. Yeah, so if folks are already an Internet Essentials customer, first, thank you. And two, they automatically qualify. So when you go through the, xfinity.com/EBB website, that is allowing folks to go ahead and, put in their information to apply their EBB credit. However, for folks who are not Internet Essentials customers, they might be a Comcast customer not on Internet Essentials, or they might be a new customer. Right, so all non-Internet Essentials folks, probably a little bit outside of the universe of folks we're working with in this community, in this call, they need to go to the federal national verifier website. And that's on the FCC website I put in the chat. So then they verify themselves that way. And then they go through that first before going. But if you're already an Internet Essentials customer, then you already have basically are pre-qualified because you meet, the need thresholds that the federal government has put into place.
Great, thank you. I think you just answered Jennifer's question in terms of whether you need to be a Internet Essentials customer, and so you don't have to be there, but there are different ways of getting service.
Exactly.
Great. Joe, go ahead.
Thank you. I think what you're offering is very helpful, and I think we'll have a lot of people to have access. You know, being a former telecom person, I know it's only as good as the infrastructure. So I'm thinking what would be good, you know, in the next couple months. I know you're always doing investments in your infrastructure. So there's these comments about infrastructure, but I know subscribers, you know, affect how you can afford to do infrastructure, right? So I think kind of just letting us know that would help us form that narrative and know what you're doing in the community, because I know having worked in telecom, that's like so much part of the narrative. And I think it's just helpful for people to say, hey, we're doing work in this zip code, we're doing work on these streets. If you see us, that's what we're doing, kind of thing.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe. And no, great point, because a lot of times we really are focused, because we're focused on the people we serve, on, you know, benefits and eligibility. But right, you know, one of the things that we have the opportunity to do, and we've been working closely with the city, is, you know, going to, you know, either aerial or underground, where we can continue to enhance our capacity to serve the folks. We're really proud to say that at the start of the pandemic, because of the previous investments that we've made, as you know, Joe, from telecom infrastructure and internet infrastructure, that you know, capacity usage, you know, doubled at least, and our you know, investment or overinvestment early on really allowed us to absorb and perform exceptionally well for people who are immediately going to distance learning or to work from home. An example that, you know, we've heard nationally in the narrative, based on how the U.S. has been set up in investment by various companies, we didn't have to do things, you know, unfortunately what happened in Europe in terms of, like in France, they asked people to please not watch Netflix at high definition, you know, and please limit your streaming, because overall, you know, in the country, internet capacity was being, you know, affected. And, you know, to my knowledge, I haven't heard any of those calls within the U.S. and definitely not at Comcast, where we've asked people to limit their usage because of, you know, how the infrastructure investment's been. So yeah, great opportunity, Joe, to just talk about the investment, how we're working together to continue to stay ahead of demand.
Just, and one other note is, one of the things I had to do, because I'm on Zoom all day long, is I had to upgrade my router. And also, so you can lease a router when you order Xfinity, but for community providers, we could also remove that as something that someone who's on a limited income pays. So think about purchasing Xfinity supported, Comcast supported routers, because that removes a reoccurring charge. So like my bill is $50, but if I had equipment, it'd go to $55. So that $5 makes a difference. And also for VPNs and for video, you want to make sure that that router can buffer. So, you know, there's internet for just sending email, and there's internet for Netflix, but then there's internet for Zoom, and each of them require a different router for that stability.
Oh, great point. And I wanted to highlight what we know about the Emergency Broadband Benefit from the federal government. As you all probably read, but I just wanted to mention on behalf of the federal government, because it's their program, that the up to $50 benefit not only applies for internet access, but it also applies for the leasing of internet-related equipment like modem and router. So thank you for bringing up that point, Joe.
Let's see, we've got a couple of questions, and you may have answered this, but Doug is wondering if the EBB has the same qualifications as Internet Essentials, or from what I understand, the EBB has quite a bit longer list of ways that you can qualify.
You know, that's a great question. I should have, you know, looked at them side by side, but you know, I believe the list looks pretty similar, except for the, you know, there's the experience of substantial loss of income since February 29th, 2020, and the household total income. So I think I would defer to the FCC website, but I know it's like you had said, Carla, it has a lengthy number of things to help people qualify, including, you know, income loss and some other things. So thanks for bringing that up.
And I know that they're still fine tuning also, like the documentation that you need and the criteria. So come May 12th, when they're launching it, I think, you know, keep checking, because I know that we've been working with them also. And we were just informed this morning that they're still refining it. So before the May 12th launch. So we'll see if it, you know, how it compares.
We've had a question from, this is in preparation for this conversation about Comcast's ability to support other languages, especially when people are doing like call-in support. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about that. What languages do you support when someone calls in?
So we have, since we started Internet Essentials, we provide a lot of marketing materials and information in more than 20 plus languages. We also, when you call in, have representatives that speak multiple languages, also have the language line that we can be connected to. So we again, try to accommodate as many languages as we can.
All right. We've got another question from Paolo here. Is Comcast participating in providing eligible households a one-time discount of up to $100 to purchase a laptop, desktop computer, or tablet if they contribute more than $10 and less than $50 for the purchase price? It's in your chat box for the full question.
Thank you, Carla, for helping us kind of keep an eye on the chat.
Yep.
And if you hear me typing, I'm just typing some notes from the good questions you all have asked me to make sure, like Lorena was said, to bring it back to our folks. And so, yeah, you know, at this point, you know, we don't have any plans to participate in the device, applying the benefit to the device at this point. We're really focused on, you know, the core thing that we do, which is internet connectivity. So stay tuned, because as you know, and as Lorena has, you know, helped me, because I've asked her this question, is like, what about, you know, our core competency is in, I think what we think we do well is providing internet and high-speed internet and connectivity. And when we work to provide devices, we're actually going through other companies to try and, you know, provide those devices, which is their thing that they're best at. So long answer to your short question. No plans at this time based on our focus, but yeah, please stay tuned.
All right. One of the questions that we had talked about earlier is coverage in San Francisco with Comcast, and wondering, and we've had some questions about, does Comcast cover every neighborhood in San Francisco, or are there some dead spots at this point?
Yeah. You know, we're proud to say San Francisco, we're 98% covered in the city. But that being said, there may be a nook or a cranny that, based on the history, and this dates back to when we were more of a cable company, long time ago. People only thought of Comcast as cable, not anymore, of course. And so we would go door to door and ask people, or certain blocks, would you like connectivity, or want us to put connectivity in the area? Believe it or not, folks at certain points when they would said, no, we don't want you. So there may be a little spot here or there that wasn't built out. I've run into, working closely with the neighborhoods. Some neighborhoods have said, the only way for you to put things is on a line, and we oppose anything new added to an aerial line. In fact, we want to underground everything. And so that's hundreds of millions of dollars toward the future. And so so there are these little pockets based on how neighborhoods want things to be done that we may or may not be there yet, but we definitely are working as broadly as possible to make sure that we can meet, customers' interests and wants.
Great. We just, I don't know, we've got a couple of questions still out there, but we were wondering if you have any questions for us as organizations. We come together representing a big chunk of the city's representatives for serving vulnerable populations. And are there ways that we can help you get this to people more smoothly?
Yeah. Yeah, but Lorena,
I was just going to say, first of all, I just want to, start with a thank you to all of you, because you guys have been doing this work, like I said, way before the pandemic. But during the pandemic, you guys were essential workers out in the field, really helping to really brings resources to those that were most impacted. And so first, the thank you. The thing that I think that, is so important, and we're always, I always say, it's life learning, is learning more about, because even though we did partnerships like with the school district, for example, here in San Francisco, we did an Internet Essentials partner program, and they were, offering, to pay, for a certain amount of months for the students and families. So even when you offer something that's going to be covered, doesn't necessarily mean that people are adopting. So just to better understand also, we keep hearing various reasons as to why people are not, signing up or even wanting access, or so the more you can share that information with us, it doesn't have to be here today. But if there's hesitation to signing up for a program, or, whether it be EBB or even Internet Essentials, that information is, important for us. And just to, letting us know, what it is, what more, we can do. And again, that's how the program has evolved and enhanced over the years.
We've got a question from Andrew coming in, just in terms of how Comcast will work with local CBOs here in San Francisco, and are the two of you our main contact people in that regard?
Yeah. Hey, Andrew, great question. And so, as you know, the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program, EBB program, is a federal program. And so, we are really glad to work with and how to adapt, what we're doing in our partnerships with you as community-based organizations to help apply that toward Internet Essentials and also other options, Internet options folks are looking at. So federal government will be definitely putting that information out, and we correspondingly will as well. And I think the thing, to Carla's good question and your good question, and what Lorena said, which is fantastic, is we could really you appreciate, one, thank you, and also use your continuing help to really help build awareness, because as you all know, it's not only is it built out to so someone has access to their home, but it's also if the adoption. It's not just the deployment with the adoption. Do people actually see the benefit of it? Or do people actually see, digital literacy, which is right on the Internet Essentials website. There's a free digital literacy videos and how-to and other things once people are on. But just building the kind of understanding of the value of the internet connectivity that for telehealth, for lifelong learning, to mitigate against social isolation, all the things that you all have done tremendous work in. But also helping get out the word that, right, there is this EBB program. It's not Comcast program. It's not any private. It is the government's program. But hey, avail yourself if you can of that benefit. And then, Comcast has, right, Internet Essentials and other options that can be really helpful. I think the other thing I've learned so much from you all in my time here is that you all have found really great ways to kind of scale how to help folks. So I love the training for trainers model you all have, where as you all are empowered, you all become these great amplifiers of information to your specific constituencies or clients or vulnerable populations you're working with. So feel free to continue to contact me to say, hey, we'd like to have a call with you, Dillon, because we're going to be going into a meeting with X, Y, and Z folks, and we want to go over these points. Or do you have a video that we can share about, the program or the self-install or things like that? I find those things are so meaningful because you all are such tremendous hubs of information for the folks you work with and work for. So yes, I will continue to be your point of contact. I want to volunteer Lorena, but Lorena was gracious enough to join me on this call, so I would not dare impose upon her yet. But as you all contact me, Lorena and I work very closely together, and I will say, hey, Lorena, I got this great question. Can I get your advice? So.
And if you're doing, I think the one thing I also wanted to say, we launched when we were piloting even reaching seniors, that program, the Internet Essentials expansion to senior population, it started in San Francisco, started with you. It started, Paolo, all of you were instrumental in really launching the program here. And so we did many things, everything from Internet Essentials, connect events in the community, at the various senior centers. We did the trainers, multiple train the trainers. And, any ideas that you have of how we can better, obviously there's different protocols now and different environments we're in now. We welcome that and invite you to reach out to us because it goes back to, it is together that we're going to be able to empower our communities with the resources and benefits that are being offered.
Great. Well, we really want to thank you for being here today. Kathy, were you going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say the same thing. Ending on a collaborative note like that is what it's all about here. So really, thank you so much. And yes, let's keep the conversation going, because I'm sure that as this rolls out, there will be details and questions and things that we'll want to communicate about with from our clients. So we'll keep the conversation flowing.